Hello and welcome to the Boomtown Hoops Live post-game show. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we've got Jamison Maxwell, Jesse Post here, and Cody Beat. We're here to break down the Thunder's 108-99 win in Orlando over the Magic. And we've been out of the bubble, but I don't know. We saw a little bit of that, Orlando bubble vibe out of some of our guys. Big game out of Baisley. Shea played well. It was exciting. Jamison, I'll let you take it off. Take over here. What was your biggest takeaway from tonight's win?
Even though Shea really didn't play that well, I thought he was very aggressive. 17 shots definitely was a breath of fresh air from last game, which I felt like he was a little bit passive. And shooting 9 threes, and I mean, you made a point of this on Twitter. That three-point shot at the beginning of the game where he shot from 30 feet was something we have not seen before from Shea. And it was really nice, even if that shot didn't go in, just to see him try to take those shots, try to expand his game, get the respect that he deserves on the three-point line, and continue to shoot the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute bomb, one I've never seen him pull up from. So getting that confidence, very important. Cody, your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, avenged our first loss of the season against the Magic. Something about us playing in Orlando, is something special there. We're 2-0 on the road, 0-3 at home. So hopefully we can kind of get some wins together at home. Loud City needs to step up. Like Jameson was saying, SGA looked really good tonight. I really didn't think that he was going to be this evolved of a passer or a facilitator with his vision, but he has completely proved me wrong at the start of the season. He's making some great passes, and the team's really feeding off it. Baisley had a career night at 19 and 12, so really just a good all-around performance, and the Magic kind of went cold towards the end. So not that we weren't playing, pretty good defense, but it just seemed like they kind of went cold in the fourth.
Yeah, absolutely cold, particularly from three. I believe they went something like 0 of 9 from three in the fourth quarter. So, a lot of this was the Magic just being, really, really, down bad in the fourth. But, you take what you can get. And sometimes it's being steady, playing your game and, getting your buckets. Jesse, your thoughts on tonight's win?
The takeaway for me tonight was Teo. I thought he maybe looked a little bit more comfortable last game, even though it didn't necessarily fall together as far as points, but tonight it did. He was 5 of 7, 1 of 3 from 3, and 12 points, and he just looked much more confident tonight, so he was the takeaway for me. Yeah,
absolutely. Maladone was phenomenal at times, playing his role well. With his 12 points, he was shooting the ball well. His jump shot's starting to really come together, and I just really like the way he looks this early in the season. James, some thoughts on Maladone?
Yeah, like y'all said, it's comfort with him. It feels like the game comes to him really easily. And what I'm surprised most about him, as far as I feel like his shot is very competent. I feel like this is something that he can develop into a really good shooter in the future. And it looks like he has the skills to continue that this season. I thought he was just going to be your solid guy, good pick and roll player, good passer. He's got his floater. We saw that in the preseason, but his outside shot is looking very, very good. Something that will really aid him next to Shea if he can have a three-point shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that helps space the floor out. One of the biggest parts of our starting five this year has been, the additions of Horford and Hill, because you can really stretch it out. So having Maladone, who is a much more viable long-term option for the Thunder, have him kind of take over that Hill kind of position, to aid Shea, that'd be fantastic. So, Cody, thoughts on Maladone before we move on?
Yeah, he looked really good tonight. You can definitely see that he's starting to improve game by game. He's not super athletic, but he seems to have a really high basketball IQ. So his passing's really good. His shot, it's looking pretty good. He just needs to kind of get more confidence with it, I think, and I think it'll be pretty good. So, yeah, if he can kind of just keep going on the trajectory that he's going on, I think he's going to be a very good complementary piece to Shea in the future backcourt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, talking about a guy with confidence here, Darius Baisley went off tonight. 17 points, I believe 12 rebounds, 12 rebounds.
12.
So a double for him. That's a really good performance out of Bazley. Jesse, your thoughts on Baze?
Yeah, I think he looked great tonight. I just think with young players, you are going to see kind of more quiet games. And I thought the last two maybe were for him, but he was 7 of 10 tonight with 19 points and 12 rebounds, like you said. And I just thought he looked great tonight. He looked comfortable as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a really good performance. You can really see him evolve as a player, as a rebounder, particularly. That's been the biggest improvement I've seen out of him this year. Jameson, your thoughts on Bazley?
It was good to see a good 3-point shooting night from him because before this he was shooting 19% from three. During the bubble, we really had the idea that he could be that 35% plus 3-point shooter that we all search for in the NBA at the 4 spot, which is extremely valuable, what every team's looking for, what every team wants. And 19%, I know with 4 games in, was still a little bit concerning. Going 2 of 4 tonight was really nice. His shot looks good. It's something really not to worry about in the future. I think he's going to keep that percentage similar to what he was in the bubble, just because his mechanics are solid and it doesn't change every time. So I feel confident in Bazley moving forward with a shot. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's something that's huge for him. We need a guy who can stretch the floor like Bazley. So that's definitely something that is a huge point that, to see progress, that's a really good thing to see for sure. Cody, thoughts on Bazley?
Yeah, it looked really good. The past couple games obviously wasn't his best, so he kind of had a fire under him tonight. It seemed like really outplayed Aaron Gordon, which is really good to see. The only thing that I kind of worry about him is his interior defense. Yeah, he's grabbing a lot of rebounds, but man, if you play someone like Vucevic or some of the bigger guys in the league, him and Horford are kind of just getting eaten alive in the paint. So I would really like to see that improve. But again, he's only 20. He's going to keep improving, and once he gets a little bit more muscle mass on him, I think he'll be able to be all right down in the blocks with the big guys. So really impressed.
Yeah. Down the stretch with Horford, he was getting roasted by Vucevic as well as Bazley. It did not improve much having Horford on board. Last time we played the Magic, you expect it when it's Isaiah Roby. You expect a big game out of Vucevic there, but without Horford, you thought it'd be a little bit more worn down, but it happens.
He's probably one of the most underrated big guys in the league. I think he's made an all-star team in the East, but I mean he put 30. He had a double with 30 tonight against us. I mean that's something he does on a consistent basis. So he's just super undervalued, I think.
Yeah, that's just Vucevic being Vucevic, though. Yeah. So. Jameson, your thoughts on the Thunder's interior defense this season?
Yeah, it is a little bit concerning. I feel like you're going to take a step back because we lost Steven Adams. We lost Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel coming off the bench and his rim protection was extremely undervalued for us last season. A guy that I thought should have gotten more minutes until, the playoffs, until big men become obsolete. But, Steven Adams and Nerlens Noel is not nearly the same as Al Horford. Then who even plays backup center minutes when Roby gets 0 minutes tonight? It's Mike Muscala, and Mike Muscala does not claim to be some stout man in the middle that stops you. He's our 3-point shooting guy. Let's see if we can outshoot them, and hopefully they miss in the middle. Versus Vucevic, that's going to be tough, and you could tell that's why both games when we played Vucevic, he's really gone and ate all over us.
Yeah, absolutely. And our guy Max asked if he's the best true center in the league. Your thoughts on that?
True center as in Vooch? Jokic is the best center in the league. I'll put that down. And he's not a true center, but that's what makes him so good. True center, and Vucevic is not a true center. If you're talking about the guys that were made with Shaquille O'Neal and Dwight Howard, that's a true center. That's not Vooch. He scores the ball from all points on the court. He's a great shooter at the 3-point line, something he's developed in his game for the past 3 or 4 years, and that's what put him to all-star caliber. So I don't think Vucevic is not in the true center category, nor do I think he's in top 5 centers either.
As good as Vooch is, I do think he is probably just like a light version of Jokovic. Just actually physically light version of Jokovic if you think about it, but that's fine. I think he's definitely a solid player, definitely all-star in the East caliber, but let's kind of talk about something I've noticed that is a bit of a disturbing trend here. Pokachevsky and I'm blanking, goaltends. Poku, I love the guy. The guy needs to learn not to just jump up for every ball. Jesse, your thoughts on Poku's performance tonight?
It's been rough. I mean, at least it was a different look at a goaltend. I think tonight he kind of pulled it off the rim. But we keep seeing those mistakes, and I'm trying not to be too hard on him because he is very young. But hopefully halfway through the season, he's not still making mistakes like this. So I'm just looking for growth like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody, you're bit on Poku here tonight.
Yeah, he's coming from a league where you're able to do that. So it's just going to be a learning curve from him. He's playing second league in Greece and Europe his entire life. They're able to do that in those leagues. You're not allowed to do that in the NBA. And that's just something of an emphasis that he'll need to have. Weirdly enough, he was a plus 12, not scoring any points and having a couple rebounds, and he was a plus 12 tonight. So kind of an anomaly, obviously. He didn't play spectacular, but when he was on the court, they outscored the Magic by 12 points. So he was doing something at least. I think, his biggest thing is his passing is really good, and he can at least handle the ball really well too, coming up the floor with how big he is. So he's a project, obviously. So I'm not too worried. It's just, growing pains. So.
Yeah. And Jameson, this is your first appearance on the post-game show so far this year. I would just love to hear what your thoughts are on Poku. I can't pass it up.
Dude, Poku's my favorite player, even though he has not done much this season, because every single time he goes out there, it is a complete mixed bag. You have no idea what you're going to get. Is he going to be on Shaqtin' the Fool later that night? Is he going to put up like 8 threes? It is extremely fun to watch, and even if he's not making it, because he's the guy that you cheer for. Remember in high school, the guy on the end of the bench that came in, and he goes and everyone goes crazy if he does something. Come on, that's Poku. And he's the young guy. He's the sophomore on the varsity team that's finally getting in. He's the freshman on the varsity team that's finally getting in. So you got to love Poku. It's going to come to him. He's a shooter. He's got good shot. He can make those. It's whenever a shooter goes in a slump, you just got to get out of it, and then everything regress back to the mean. So right now you could tell he's in his head. He's not confident. He passed up one of his open threes before he took one tonight. And as soon as you pass up your first open three as a shooter, that is not good. You're not going to have a good game because you have to have a high mental status going into a game as a shooter.
Yeah, you just got to let it fly, and that's something we've seen so far out of him this season. So I don't know if him hesitating on that is a good thing, because again, we're not trying to exactly win games here. I'd rather see him just let loose. I'm here for the fun. I'm here for the roller coaster ride of the Pokachevsky experience. Speaking of Shaqtin' a Fool, he's already gotten on. He's only been in the league for like 2 weeks, and he's already gotten on Shaqtin'. So I'm all for it.
The sad part, it wasn't just one of his plays. They just did a montage of like 3 different things Poku did, and I'm just like, no, Poku, don't do it to us already. But seriously, he'll be just fine. He'll be just fine.
Exactly. You got to look at the fun highlights too. You take the good with the bad. Sean's not here to just roast Poku the entire time in the comment section, unfortunately. But either way, before we wrap up win number 2, let's get down to our player of the game. So Cody, who takes player of the game honors for you?
It's got to be Baisley. It's the easy answer. 19 and 12 tonight. Shot 70% from the field, 50% from 3. Looked really comfortable, looked really good. That one dunk that he had towards the end of the game was just, he got up there. You can just tell he's growing as far as his athleticism goes. So if he can just keep improving his shot, I think we've got to steal at 21 in the draft. A lot of people didn't like the pick, me included. I said, who is that on draft night? And I'm definitely eating my words now. So, Sam Presti obviously knows a lot more about basketball than I do.
Fair enough. He knows more about basketball than really, honestly, most people, and he's 40 steps ahead. So you never know what he's up to. Jesse, your thoughts on player of the game?
Since Cody said Bays, I'm gonna say Teo. This is just the type of game that I've been expecting from him, and we've kind of been missing. So I said earlier I thought he was more comfortable. I'm hoping he can just grow from that. But he looked much better this game to me. So I'm going to pick Teo.
Yeah, and Max asks if the greatness of Teo will make us forget about Poku. It'll
Never.
No, I don't want to forget about Poku.
No.
I love the experience, and it's like that whole draft was really good because you have a high ceiling guy like Poku, but you get the guy who's pretty good now, like Teo. So you get the good and the bad. You get to have both. You get to have your cake and eat it too, and I'm here for it. Jameson, player of the game.
I'll just say this. He was not the best player on the court, but due to his volume and 9 shots and not overly screwing up too much, let's give it to Hamidou Diallo. Sometimes whenever he has the ball and he has too much volume, things get a little dicey. He goes to the lane, just changes offhand, throws it off the backboard. He was 1 for 1 from the 3-point line tonight. As soon as he went up, I said, oh, Lord, and it went in. Got to give it to Hamidou Diallo.
Hey, Hami, he's had a tough couple of years. Anytime you have your backup point guard, usually whenever it's like coming off the bench and it's Hamidou Diallo, you're worried. You don't trust him about the best decision making. So, 12 points in a pretty efficient game. I think that's a pretty solid pick there. For me, I Baisley, he's probably the player of the game, but I got to give it to the guy who completely iced it for the Thunder, Al Horford. Good job on him. Got roasted, but you know what? He I guess had a cool shot at the end. That's actually a horrible player of the game. I take it back. But you have to be different around here. It's really Baisley. I just wanted it to be different. So let's be real. Anyways, all right. Well, thank you so much for spending your Saturday night with us on our first show of 2021. We've enjoyed having your comments. So make sure to tune in after every game. We'll be here to talk. So on behalf of me, Jameson, Jesse, and Cody, this has been the Boomtown Hoops post-game show. Y'all have a good Saturday night. Thunder up.